So for this demo, I'm going to show a couple things. I'm going to show adding the head as well as creating form with line. So these things will make more sense as you move through the video. And if you want to skip ahead, that totally works fine also. But I'm sure many of you are maybe doing an animal where you need to add something like a head. I have my form already pinched out and ready to go, and I need a head for the top of here. And everything is kind of determinant on your sketch and your plan. So even if I was doing the hedgehog, I would kind of build this tiny little head here also. But I need another little pinch pot to go on top there. So I'm going to grab a little bit of clay. This is probably good. I'm going to get it into a ball form. Same as if I was, making a larger pinch pot. I go through all the same steps. Got a small ball, and the size of this little pinch pot is kind of determined on your idea. Like I might start pinching this out and realize, man, this is too much clay. Or I might start pinching it out and realize it's too small. But I'm just gonna kind of start and see where I go. I still get rid of the imperfections, but pinching it out is a much faster process. So I will start in the center here. I can't really hold it in the palm of my hand because it's so small, but I can kind of start in the center and hold it maybe with my hands up here. So I'm just kind of creating this head. You want to pinch it all the way through. You don't want just a halfway pinched out pinch pot. You want, clay loves to have even walls, and you want that same, I guess, kind of, consideration put forth to your little pinch pot that you would for the body here when you are making your original pinch pots. So again, I'm just going to pinch it through. I still have quite a bit to pinch out of the bottom here. And as I'm kind of looking at this thing, it's looking a little big, so I might have to adjust, but I'm going to make sure I have even walls all the way around. I've got some of these imperfections. You can try and smooth those over with your hand, whatever works. And once I kind of have it pinched out and planned out, then I need to determine, is this too big? Is this too small? What? I'm going to set it up here and then determine, like, in proportion with the body, is this head too big? Or does it need some work? Is it the right shape? Always be thinking about that based on your ideas. And I think mine's just a little bit too big. So I actually might cut a little bit off of the bottom here. And now the clay is really plastic, so it's going to deform my shape. But I'm going to do the best I can, and then I'll adjust the shape afterwards. It also wants to stick to the form. I can kind of fix it, though, after I'm done. So really deformed it. That's why you don't do a lot of these things when the clay is so soft. But it is soft enough to where it can kind of float back into shape. So I might squeeze in my rim a little bit so it's a little smaller. And let's see how I did there. I like that much better. So in proportion with the body, I like that much better. The other thing is I have this flat area to where it sits on the table really nicely. So do I like that in relation to, do I like this placement in the relation to the belly coming out? How do I want to, is it centered on the belly, on the body? Just thinking about all these things before I move forward. And I think that's all right. And I'm actually, sorry, I'm not in the field of view. I'm going to trace this on here once I'm happy with the spot, because I need to cut a hole into my body here. I already have one cut because I did it during class, but I'm going to cut this a little bit larger. So I have the traced area here, and I'm just going to use my tool here to cut this a little bit larger. It's so important that you do this because it's a hollow form that's attaching to another hollow form. You need air to flow in and out. If you don't have this hole in here, you're going to trap air in there, and then when it goes through the kiln, the head's going to pop off. And that's just kind of sad. The hole doesn't need, and I'm looking at all my balls in here, the head doesn't need to be, it doesn't need to be a perfect circle because I'm going to cover that up. So I'm not going to stress too much about that area, and then I need to score and slip. Oop. I'm pretty generous and forceful with my score marks here, and I'm going to score this area too. Oh. And again, my clay is really plastic, so it wants to deform a little bit. So I have to be really careful. Ideally, this would best be attached when it's sat out a little bit and it's more to soft leather hard. For demo purposes, I'm just going to kind of go for a healthy amount of slip. So again, pinch out your form, place it on your body where you want it to go, cut a hole in it, in your body, score, slip, and then attach your head or whatever that may be that you are attaching. Now again, I have to be gentle. This head is very plastic. And I'm going to clean up my slip going around it. Now the connection area is pretty rough. I need to clean that up, and I'm going to do so with a coil. So already I can visualize my bird kind of coming out, missing its obvious tail and feet here. Grab some clay for a coil. I don't need much. I only need a small coil. I'm going to push that up. Get it started first, and then roll it out. I only need a thin coil just to clean up that area, that edge. So same process when you are attaching two pinch pots together for the body or for whatever you're making. You will also add the coil and all the same steps. So I'm pulling this closer. This coil is going to, again, my little pinch pot here is really plastic. So I want to go slow. And I mostly push into the body here. And I'll worry about the head in just a minute. All the way around first. Pull off my extra clay. Sorry, I wasn't in the field of view, but I did go all the way around, and I gotta stay there now. Sorry, guys. Again, it's so of me to want to pull close to my body. It's so unnatural for me to be this far away, especially with me looking at it, just smoothing out my coil here into the body, and then I'm going to go gently and smooth it out into the head. I'm doing it gently because my clay is plastic. If it was soft leather hard, I can use the same kind of force that I was just using for the body. Some of this stuff I might have to wait till it does stiffen up, so I probably won't work on the head much until it stiffens up later. But I am going to kind of clean up some of this coil. Just with my thumb here. I'm not going to get too crazy with all of this up here. I will adjust that after my clay stiffens up. And then I have my little bird body. And already this is taking it out of the form of the just two pretty boring pinch pots put together. I have a head started. The next thing I do want to talk about, and I'm going to use the example of my pumpkin, which I already started in class. So this is the same demonstration I kind of been showing. And working through line and building form with line. So I'll continue to move around my pumpkin here and draw in my lines. I always draw them with pencil first. So if I screw up or if I come off, you know, I can just erase the line and be good to go. So again, a pumpkin is a really organic object. So it doesn't, like some of you may evenly space them out, but it's not the most important thing that the line is evenly spaced out. I think it's fun, like this one's closer than this one, you know, having these different kind of, you know, shapes kind of happening. Oh, see, that's the kind of area where I'm like, yeek. And this is why I draw it in pencil first. It's hard to draw on a three-dimensional object. So these are really boring, but that's so much more interesting. So I'm going to show you how to achieve that with my drawn lines. I'm going to take my skewer tool, same tools that you have in your box, and I'm actually going to press into my line first with my skewer. And I'm using quite a bit of force. My clay is a little bit harder than I want it to be for this kind of step. You know, a soft leather hard would be better, where this is nearing pretty much leather hard. And again, I'm just pressing into the form, using force. And still, that's the bare minimum. This area doesn't look like what's going on here. So I'm going to actually take my thumb or the side of my finger. I think this one's already kind of pushed through. So I'm going to start with this one and really push in the form. So again, just pushing it out of the two pinch pots stuck together, really round form. How can you push that form? How can you push your creativity? And this goes with anything with lines. So if I think of the turtle shell, same idea. You draw on your turtle shell, press into it with your skewer tool, and then you know, use the side of your thumb to create more dimension, more form. And this also needs to be cleaned up quite a bit. So it looks like a lot of divots and a lot of marks. Everything, once you first start, needs that extra little bit. It needs to be cleaned up. It needs to be loved, and it needs time and energy. I'm going to come over here and start cleaning up these lines. I'm using the edge of this tool here. Here's the curved edge, or I can use the tight edge, as in the angled edge. And it's creating a chatter, I know, and I just have to clean it up a little bit further than that. So dragging it along the edges here. So really pushing the idea of this form bumping out, just like a real pumpkin. And I encourage you, can't say it enough, to, you know, pull up a reference on Google, whatever you're trying to make, whether it is a pumpkin, and, you know, what does that look like? How can you make it more realistic? How can you push your form? I can continue to clean this up. Maybe my finger needs to kind of drag in here, clean up the edges, so on and so forth. And I still have some more lines there, but already just like so much more interesting than what's happening over here. So push yourself and push your form and change it. Okay?